What's up, everybody? I'm Katie.
And I'm Morgan.
And this is For Your Misinformation. We are two Midwestern feminists here to break down the political news that you need to know without the misinformation that you don't.
Let us break down the problem and tell you what we're doing and what you can do to help solve it. Hi, Katie.
Hi, Morgan.
How are you?
I'm okay. How are you doing?
I'm all right, too. I am just a little shocked because before we started recording, we realized that this is our last episode we're recording for 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow. This year has been the longest and also the shortest.
Yeah.
And kind of the worst.
Yeah, and I feel like everybody's really excited to get into 2021. I guess I'm cautiously optimistic. But
yeah, it's I think that COVID's not just going to go away because it's 2021.
But the days are getting longer now.
Yep.
Every day when we wake up, more Americans will be vaccinated than were the day before when we woke up.
Yeah.
Things are, also more people will have died, but still, vaccinations are great.
Yes, vaccinations are great, and we're getting closer and closer to the inauguration of President Joe Biden, which is exciting. The 4-year hellscape that was the Trump administration is over, at least for now. It's not like authoritarianism dies just because one orange man got voted out of office, but that's an episode for another day. Today, we're talking about said President-elect Joe Biden's cabinet picks.
Yes, which
exciting.
I have not been paying attention to, so I'm glad that you are going to tell me about it, except for Deb Haaland. It's hard not to, that definitely pierced through my Biden cabinet bubble, but...
Yeah, and we're not going to talk about every single person who has been named to serve or possibly serve as part of the cabinet because that would be way too many people. But we're going to talk about some of the important ones. There are still a few, I guess, the important ones, and also the few that haven't been announced yet. Probably will have been announced by the time this episode comes out. But
oh yeah, we're recording this one extra early.
Yeah, because it's Christmas at the end of this week, which is exciting. Less exciting, COVID deaths were up to almost 320,000, but we have 128,000-ish people who've been vaccinated, even though, the vaccine supply has been a little bit of a shit show.
Yep.
Don't worry, everyone. Joni Ernst and Mitch McConnell both got theirs, even though thousands of frontline workers haven't gotten vaccinated yet. And also Joni Ernst and Mitch McConnell both worked against protecting society from the pandemic that wasn't real and then was being over-exaggerated so hospitals would make money. And
Joni wouldn't wear a mask.
Yeah, and then today she wore a mask and got a vaccine. It's funny how that works.
She's a hero because she's setting an example for the rest of Americans. Thanks, Joni.
My guinea pigs set a better example for Americans.
For sure. They mostly just mind their own business, which...
Yeah.
It's great.
They do. Should we talk about our actions for the week before we get into Biden's cabinet picks?
Sure.
Because I'm excited about our actions for the week because it's the holidays. So, here's an action. Just be fucking nice to people and leave large tips when you get takeout and also maybe leave a gift card for your postal workers.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. We should definitely do that. We mailed our Christmas. Well, my aunt very kindly came and picked up the packages that we wanted to mail. But yeah, okay, that reminds me. Guess we're not quite done yet. Okay, go on. Sorry.
You can still donate to Georgia. Or since it's the holidays, you can make a donation literally anywhere, even if it's non-political. That's still a very good thing to do, especially if you can set up a recurring donation for 2021. Highly recommend. I have some local mutual aid foundations that I think are really great. So if anybody really feels compelled to donate to the Des Moines area, let me know. I'll hook you up, send you my list. At some point, I think we should make a list of all the places we, being Katie and Morgan, have sent our money, or maybe places that listeners have donated to. We could have that on the link tree and just have this like whole big long spreadsheet of awesome organizations. Maybe that's...
Someone has asked me for that before.
Okay, well, great. Hey, person who asked for that, I'm going to make that one of my 2021 to-do list things.
Oh, nice. That's great. Oh, was that a guinea pig?
That was a guinea pig. Did you hear that?
Yeah. That was perfect.
Yeah, they're playing in their cuddle sack.
That's nice.
It's very cute.
Well, if you're listening to this the day that it comes out, there's still time to sign up for the Indivisible phone bank to Georgia. I think there's one with Gaslit Nation from like 3 to 5, maybe.
Also in our link tree.
Yeah, it's in our. It's probably okay. Yeah,
depends on what time zone you're in for what time it is.
True. But most of the afternoon you can spend phone banking to Georgia because their election is tomorrow, which determines control of the Senate, as you know. So that's what I'll be doing this afternoon. So feel free to join me if anybody would like to.
Yeah, there won't be costumes like there were for our Halloween phone bank unless you want to, and then you do you.
Yeah, I mean, we could make January 4th a holiday.
We're still living in a pandemic. You get to wear what you want.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about the cabinet picks.
Okay, go for it.
All right. So, first and foremost, just want to kind of note that the president is and should be allowed to assemble the team that they want. We want and need President Biden's picks that require Senate confirmation to be confirmed so that he can successfully and smoothly lead his administration. That does not mean that we won't still question some of his choices or criticize some of their decisions. So maybe we're not psyched about every single one of the picks, but some of them are really fucking yay. So, also don't read Politico's breakdown of all of the cabinet picks. Okay. That is self-care. The level of cynicism in those articles is a little bit kind of clickbaity. And it's just a level of cynicism you don't need in your life right now, especially heading into a new year. We'll go over the cabinet picks right now for you. And also me criticizing Politico cynicism, that's coming from us. Me, I make a hobby of being cynical over political matters. So if I'm telling you don't go there, don't go there.
I'm down with that. That's basically what I've been doing. I don't have the mental capacity to do it. So yes, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I didn't really put these in any particular order. I was maybe I should put these in order of importance or in order that they've been announced. And then I was just I'm just going to put them in the order that I am remembering them and then go back to my notes for the rest. So, first one, White House Chief of Staff. So the Chief of Staff is basically the assistant to the president. It is the first one on this list, partly because it's such an important and influential position. You'll hear about this person all the time. I kind of think of the White House Chief of Staff as the Alexander Hamilton to General George Washington, because when in doubt, make a Hamilton reference.
That is very helpful to me.
Yeah, I gotta have my right-hand man. Anyway, Biden's pick is Ron Klain. So Ron Klain was the vice president's chief of staff to Al Gore and to Vice President Joe Biden. So, he's very familiar to this role. He's familiar to Joe Biden. Yeah, he's a pro. He also was the White House Ebola response coordinator back in 2014, which is soup's convenient since we're in a global pandemic right now.
Yeah, and that one went better than this one is going. So.
Yeah, Ebola went much better than this one is going.
There's a lot of factors, but...
there's a lot of reasons for that, but... so I think that's a great pick. You want your right-hand man to be somebody that you trust.
He sounds reliable.
Yeah, somebody that you trust, somebody that knows what they're doing. So yeah, that's a good solid pick. Good job.
Welcome, Ron.
Yep. And that's a position that doesn't need approval from the Senate. Like the
good.
president just has to pick that person. So next is the Secretary of State. So Secretary of State is the president's like main advisor on foreign policy and handles foreign affairs, which is a big job. Biden's chosen a guy named Tony Blinken. Sounds like a fake name. It is not.
It does.
See, that's part of what I like about most of these picks is it's not that your cabinet won't change a little bit throughout the course of your administration. That's really normal. These are stressful positions, but the Trump administration's been a revolving door, and the people that Biden has chosen are stable. They're stable people. They're more stable than pretty much everyone, with a few exceptions that Donald Trump chose to be on his staff. And so like that's a good sign. We want a stable administration.
Yeah. Sorry, were you done talking about Tony Blinken or no?
I was just gonna say, when I say stable, I mean he's experienced. He was Deputy Secretary of State under Obama and National Security Advisor. He also had roles during the Clinton and Bush administration, so he's very experienced. He's considered overall a good guy, and he's competent, which is something we never really had in Secretary of State during the past 4 years. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, is it Mike Pompeo that's Secretary of State right now? Okay, so yeah, that is why I was laughing, because I think it was originally Rex Tillerson, which is like, oh my God, his entire job is to care about the money that he makes from oil and burning shit so that our climate is unlivable. And now it's Mike Pompeo, who is insane, an insane misogynist who legitimately believes in like that he's going to bring about the end of the world because he's going to put Jerusalem back in. I don't know. And now, instead of him, we're transitioning from him, an insane bigot, to Tony Blinken, who I think his parents were refugees after the Holocaust. I think they survived the Holocaust. So like, imagine the improved like outlook and perspective. Like, I'm just so happy already.
I mean, it might not be as entertaining, but also this is not a reality TV show. It is our government. There are a lot of reality TV shows out there you can watch if that's your jam and you love the drama. Also, we totally forgot about The Bachelor.
We're missing part 1 of The Bachelorette.
Oh,
finale,
no.
I think like right now. Don't worry. We'll catch up before we record our next episode. Oh, wait. Okay, I'm Team Brendan. Who do you want to win? There's 4 people left right now when we're recording this. My mom is Team Ivan. And for some reason, every time that Brendan comes on the screen, my mom goes, "Roofers are crazy." It's like, what? All right.
I don't know. They all have their moments for me. I'm not good at picking.
She did a pretty good job. Like she has pretty
the ones she's gotten down to are pretty decent. They've all had their moments. I think I might be a little bit more Team Ivan on it, but I could definitely be swayed depending on what's happening right now in the episode that we're missing. So
yeah,
tune in for more. If I can learn how to do like a video, I'll put it on our Instagram story.
Ooh, yeah.
We can like do that next time we're watching, but I don't know how to do videos on the Instagram story because I am 94 years old.
Well, I'll teach you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, speaking of The Bachelorette, one of the Republicans' like rising stars his name is Madison Cawthorn, and he's from North Carolina, and he's in the House. And he is terrible. And I like, now that we've been talking about The Bachelorette, I realize what he reminds me of, or who he reminds me of, and he reminds me of Luke P. Like that, yeah. So I mean, and it totally makes sense that like a person like that is like their next rising star, who they're like, ooh. But yeah, oh my God, that is totally who he reminds me of. And there's so Tayshia, no Luke P's in this final four. Good job, but
yes, good job. Yeah, so this one I'm excited for. White House press secretary. So goodbye, Kaylee McEnincompoop. And hello to Jen Psaki. So like I'm just ready for someone with integrity to be in this position.
You're
like,
tired of her like lying to your face?
Yeah, I don't like being just lied to. Jen Psaki began her career on the re-election campaigns for two beloved Iowans, former Governor Tom Vilsack and Senator Tom Harkin. So, you know, obviously that's going to be a soft spot for me. And she's been White House communications director, among other roles. So, like, she knows what she's doing. She's a good person. Wow.
Great.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic to have that. Biden's pick for U.S. ambassador to the United Nations is Linda Thomas Greenfield. She is the first Black woman on our list that we've mentioned so far. She has plenty of experience as a diplomat. I think that she's for sure going to get confirmed, and that she's for sure going to do a really good job, and as only the second Black woman to have this position. Yeah, so she's a very good pick.
Cool.
Very, very strong. First one here that's maybe considered a little controversial is Biden's pick for Secretary of Agriculture. So Biden nominated former Iowa governor and very wonderful human Tom Vilsack for the job. This is a sensible pick. Again, it's a stable pick. Vilsack had the job for 8 years under Obama. He comes from Iowa, which is very much known for being an agricultural state. In fact, that's pretty much what we are. There's like 24 times more pigs here than there are humans.
That's
Not
a
even
scary
kidding.
fact. Pigs are a little scary, right?
There's
like
so many pigs. I mean, they could they could definitely eat you, and there would be nothing left of your body.
I think people don't realize that. I think
but they can also be very sweet, snuggly snoots. So, I mean,
but like, it sounds like if a pig army wanted to take over Iowa, they absolutely could.
Oh yeah, they totally could if they wanted to.
So careful.
Yeah. So, but like, yeah. So Vilsack, he was a great governor for our state. He did a good job as Secretary of Ag under Obama. But like, you know, coming from Iowa, it's very much like farmers first, which is obviously important. As an Iowan, I'm very biased towards the importance of that in this position. But also the head of Ag is in charge of making sure that Americans have food on their tables in other ways as well, which means tackling food insecurity. So Feeding America and the NAACP, among other organizations, actually were gunning for Ohio's Martha Fudge for this job, because there are like 50 million Americans who are food insecure right now, and they depend on SNAP, which is a USDA program, the Supplemental Nutrition and Food Assistance Program. Like it's like food stamps, right? That's SNAP. So like, obviously Vilsack can do a good job at this role, but he's going to have to make sure that, you know, he's coming at it from that food insecurity angle, and not just the like, yay farmers.
Yeah, like, how do we make sure farmers are breaking even or whatever?
Right. And the Trump administration was so popular with farmers because they gave them lots of money, which, yeah, I'm in Iowa. So, like, I love to see farmers getting lots of money. But also, that's not sustainable. We as a country can't continue to do that. So, yeah, it's a big job. Anyway, Martha Fudge. So she was chosen for a cabinet position. So even though she was not given the nod for Secretary of Agriculture, she was chosen for Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. So it's kind of like if you have a star running back, but then you decide to put them at wide receiver because they're just an all-around like great athlete and they're multi-talented and can play that position really well. So it's like, it's better than leaving them on the bench when they're
That's
clearly
kind of...
just a star. But yeah, it's like their second best thing.
You should say that again because it was really good and I interrupted you. Sorry. Can you say that again?
Oh, yeah. So, like, if you have a star running back, but you decide to play them at wide receiver because they're a multi-talented, all-around really good athlete, I mean, okay, cool. It's better than leaving them on the bench, but it's like the second best position for that person.
I see.
So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad to have her on the team. That is like, now that you say that, kind of how I feel, and I'm sure you'll get to this later. Sorry if I'm like jumping the gun, but that's sort of how I feel about Pete Buttigieg. Is like, all right, like go ahead, fix transportation. Like,
yeah,
all right, like okay, like you seem smart and like you care about stuff, so
yeah,
go
it's
ahead.
like Pete Buttigieg like needs to be in the cabinet because he's young and needs more political experience than just being mayor of South Bend, Indiana.
Yeah.
And so it's like he needs that experience so that he can have another presidential run and
like
probably do a good job someday. But
exactly, you know that he is like, obviously he has like really high aspirations, so like he's not gonna dick around as transportation secretary. He's like God, I have to really like nail this. Ugh, okay, I'm excited to see what he does.
I think he's got a bright future, and we will talk about him later. So,
and I'm excited about Marcia Fudge.
Yeah, like, okay, so this might not be our first pick for Martha Fudge's role in the cabinet, but she's definitely got the chops for this gig. And given the number of people right now who can't pay their rent because of the economy and the pandemic, like, we need someone who is super strong in that position, and Martha Fudge is super strong. So, you know, it's still a good pick.
Cool.
The next one I want to mention is actually a new position. So this is the Special Presidential Envoy for Climate. Love to see that. The National Security Council is going to have someone now just fully dedicated to climate change. And the pick for this Special Presidential Envoy for Climate is John Kerry, which at first I was like, huh. And then I was like, you know what? Actually, that might be a good pick. I think there are a lot of others who might have been some solid considerations, but, you know, John Kerry, when he was Secretary of State under Obama, something that he was always taking into consideration was the impact of climate. You know, he's been right up there in those discussions about climate change since the early days of Al Gore. And so I think that's it's a good pick. You know, you're picking a veteran for a new position, which is always kind of an interesting tactic, but I don't think it's bad by any means.
I mean, he's a serious dude, and it seems like he's gonna take it seriously. So
yeah,
sure.
Biden's national security advisor is Jack Sullivan. So he was deputy assistant during the Obama years. I don't know that much about him, but he's only 43. So he's super young for a position like this. Like 43, I'm like, I would date someone who's 43 years old. 43-year-olds at me.
We probably have.
Like, yeah, I think I have. So I'm just like, dang. But yeah, it's good. That's not a bad thing that he's super young. You've got to get some young blood in the cabinet because so far it's skewing kind of old, you know? So that's, I think, a good thing.
Okay,
Next,
Jack, like, you gotta insert the millennial. Are you a millennial? Probably not. You might be, like, just on the cusp.
Yeah, he's probably, like, Zennial. Like, it's, like, it's, like, millennials, but also Gen X.
Please do your best to interject our perspective and values into the cabinet. No big deal. Good luck.
Yeah. Little bit of controversy over the next pick, or a lot of controversy, depending on who you ask. It's Neera Tanden to lead the White House Budget Office. This person, so this role is responsible for setting the president's economic agenda and approving agency policies. I had to look that up because I was like, I don't know what that person does. Out of everyone that we're mentioning today, she's the one that Republicans dislike the most for being too partisan. So she's the one that, like, they're probably not going to confirm. Personally, I think they're just kind of butthurt because she called Trump a puppet and compared his followers to members of a cult, which we have also done. So I'm like, well, crap, did I just screw my own chances at a cabinet position? I don't know.
I think probably just don't tweet about it.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever mentioned your last name, so you might be safe.
This is true. So I'm like, well, Neera Tandon's not wrong. She's just they really decided they don't like her, and probably extra don't like her because like she's an Indian woman, and so she'd be the first like Asian American to have this role, and yeah. So
I mean, I just hope that every single person who's upset about that was also very upset by what Donald Trump has said over the last 5 years.
See, it's different when men speak their mind and just say how they feel because they're being real and brave and funny and no bullshit. But when women do it, it's partisan and it's mean.
Unprofessional.
It's unprofessional. It's rude. Yeah. Didn't you know that, Katie?
I didn't, but I will internalize that and not forget it again. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. For Director of National Intelligence, Biden has nominated Avril Haines.
That means April in French.
Oh, I did not know that.
It does.
Yeah, well, she was the first woman to be Deputy Director of the CIA and Principal Deputy National Security Advisor. Love to see it. If confirmed, she would be the first woman in charge of national intelligence.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
so
nothing weird going on with national intelligence right now, right? Like we've been all
oh my gosh, that's been smooth sailing forever. Yeah.
So she just has a really easy job that white dudes have been nailing. Yeah. And they'll just pass it on to her.
Yeah. So that's just another woman making history if Neera Tandon's confirmed and if Avril Haines is confirmed.
Nice.
Which is
exciting. We will like we want to talk about the crazy insane Russian hack. I don't really have that much to say about it right now.
Wait, which crazy insane Russian hack? The most recent one?
The enormous systemic years long one that has been going on undetected. That one.
I would love to interview someone about that who actually like can speak technology language and know like what some of these like firewall words mean.
Yes.
That probably made me sound like a boomer, but I don't care.
Whatever.
Even better if you're a boomer who works in cybersecurity who would come on and talk to us, because I would love that. Like,
yeah,
my grandma would be a boomer, and she was so good at like computers and technology and stuff. Yeah.
Can't relate.
I did not get that from her. She also had like a genius level IQ though. So I shouldn't be surprised that she could figure out computers very quickly.
Yeah.
Another powerful lady, Janet Yellen, if confirmed, would be the first woman to serve as Treasury Secretary. Cool. She's more than qualified, in my opinion. She has support from a lot of progressives. I'm here for it. I know that, a couple months ago we were like, no, Elizabeth Warren should be Treasury Secretary. But
I honestly kind of forgot about that.
This is an okay second choice.
Yeah. Janet. Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. Hey. Department of Homeland Security. So everybody's heard of the Department of Homeland Security. Do you know what they do? I don't know. So I'm going to tell you. They are responsible. Yeah, they're responsible for counterterrorism, cybersecurity, aviation security, border security, port security, maritime security, the administration and enforcement of our immigration laws, protection for our national leaders, protection of critical infrastructure. I think I already said cybersecurity, detection and protection against like chemical, biological, or nuclear threats to the country. Response to national disasters. Yeah. So like keeping us safe. Lots of things go into that. It's not just war. Biden chose Alejandro Mayorkas to lead DHS, or Department of Homeland Security, which is especially cool because he was born in Havana, Cuba, and he came to the United States as a refugee. And so if the Senate votes to confirm him, he would be the first Latino and the first immigrant to lead the agency, which I want an immigrant to be leading the agency making immigration laws.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
100%.
I think that's so great.
Yeah.
That's one that made me go like, yay.
Mm-hmm.
This next one was kind of a strange pick. Javier Becerra, he's the California Attorney General who has been given the nom for Health and Human Services Secretary. That's a strange pick because he doesn't have any public health or medicine background at all. But he is not Alex Azar, so that's great. And like being an AG, policy language is the language he speaks, not healthcare language, which is good. And he is a strong supporter of the Affordable Care Act and women's health care. So those are also good points. And he would be the first Latino in this role as well. So, lots of barriers being broken, lots of firsts happening with these cabinet picks, if you haven't noticed a trend.
No, I'm noticing a lot more diversity than is in the current cabinet, yes.
Yeah.
Even though that is in just too low of a bar, but
yeah, exactly.
Can't help but notice.
Well, and like also if you're noticing, these picks are diverse, especially compared to the current administration. But also, like, these people are hella qualified for the most part. Like, all of these people, I'm just like, oh, wow, this person's qualified as hell. And so this whole old argument of, like, what, you're just going to patronize Black people by nominating them to positions they don't deserve just because they're Black, that's the racist thing to do, is like, shut the fuck up. These people have had to fight harder than anyone else could understand.
That's not happening.
And they're incredibly competent and qualified. Sit down, let these people do their jobs.
Yeah, like you're telling on yourself, like you're embarrassing yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Another pick that has raised some eyebrows, Biden will nominate retired four-star General Lloyd Austin to lead the Department of Defense. He's a retired four-star general, which is a pretty big deal, but he hasn't been retired for the required 7 years. So he needs a special waiver to be approved for this position. I don't know the likelihood of him getting that waiver. I don't exactly know how hard that's going to be for him to get. There are legitimate reasons why you need to be retired for 7 years. 7 is kind of a random number, but whatever. Because, like, the leader of the Department of Defense is supposed to be a civilian role with civilian interests in mind, not with military interests in mind, which is why you need that retirement for a certain number of years. So, you need that, like, military experience, but with civilian best interests. Yeah, and so Lloyd Austin is on the board for a major U.S. defense contractor, which could be considered like a big conflict of interest because you're leading the Department of Defense, but you're on the board for a defense contractor.
Are you talking about Raytheon?
Yes, Raytheon. Okay. Pod Save the World described this really well in the first part of a recent episode if you want to learn a little bit more. So, yeah, I don't know if he'll get the waiver or not.
This one makes my spidey senses tingle.
Yeah, the whole Raytheon thing is kind of like, ooh, I don't like that. I don't like that. But also, Lloyd Austin, from what I've heard, is a decent guy. I don't know like a lot about him, but it sounds like he's well respected. And he would be the first Black man in this role if confirmed, which is monumental given the long history of racism in the American military.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, it does. It gets those spidey senses like, I don't know about this.
My old therapist would call this an amber light.
Okay.
Like it's not a red flag, but it is something that you should like make a note of to pay attention to in the future. And I don't know why I remember this, but I'm pretty sure that whoever leads Trump's Department of Defense, he did get the waiver.
Yes, he did. We just went through this whole waiver thing not that long ago, and it did happen.
But I think he's the only one.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I think if it happened
we'll
one
see.
other time, it was a while ago, I think.
Okay, yeah.
But
so I guess we'll see.
Have only been the one, and yeah, so that's just kind of one that like we'll see if he doesn't get the waiver. I'm like pretty fine with it. But if he does, then let's just kind of see what happens, and maybe he will just voluntarily step down from his position on that board at Raytheon because that would be the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Chief Medical Advisor nomination, Anthony Fauci. We have no choice but to stand.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love you, Tony.
Finally getting to another young nominee, Pete Buttigieg. Yay! Mayor Pete as transportation secretary, which is just kind of seems like such a random pick. He will be the youngest cabinet member, also the first ever openly gay one.
Woo woo!
Yeah, so that's exciting. All I really have to say is thank God it isn't Rahm Emanuel.
I'm still gonna do an episode about Rahm Emanuel because I would like to talk shit about him. I'm very glad that he's not selected. Still want to tell you guys how terrible he is.
Yeah. But also I'm kind of for real excited about Pete Buttigieg in this position because kind of like we said earlier, he's got such a promising career ahead of him. But also, okay, Joe Biden is an old man. Old men love trains.
Mm-hmm.
Pete is a millennial, and millennials also love trains. So, dear Mayor Pete, please give us a legitimate passenger rail system in this country. Also use your position to help us save the climate. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks in advance.
I just could picture him and Biden sitting down for a cup of coffee. Pete Buttigieg seems like the person that doesn't drink coffee. He seems like the person that's I've never needed coffee. Anyway,
do you know that I don't drink coffee?
I know you don't drink coffee, but Pete seems like the kind of person that thinks it's kind of a big deal that he doesn't need coffee.
No, I drink pre-workout instead, which is so trashy because 90% of the time I'm not about to exercise. I just would like caffeine in my system so I don't go back to sleep.
Did I ever tell you about the time I drank this pre-workout? I think it was called C4.
Mm-hmm. No, you haven't told me this, but isn't that one bad?
I drank it one time. I got a free sample from I don't know where. I was in grad school, and I'm great, caffeine that I can shake up into a bottle of water. And I drank it, and I thought I needed to go to the ER. My skin felt metallic.
Were you itchy? Oh.
I felt like I was metallic. A little
don't know what
itchy,
that means.
but also metallic, shiny. I felt like my skin was shiny, kind of like the surface of a car on a hot day in the summer when the sun's been shining on it. No, it felt shiny. I cannot explain it any differently. My skin felt shiny.
Okay.
And it was itchy, but it was itchy under my skin. I was was this pre-workout actually methamphetamine?
I've heard some sketchy stuff about C4.
I think it's methamphetamine.
Yeah. Also,
I was terrified. I was just I don't even know what to do. So I called someone who I knew did CrossFit, and they're like, oh yeah, that could happen. The only way to fix it is to work out. And I was just what the fuck?
Okay, I'll just go do some pull-ups so my shiny skin goes away.
Yeah, I was I feel icky. I don't want to go exercise. And also it was midnight because I was in grad school, so I never got to sleep. And I was just what am I supposed to fucking do right now? It was awful. So I just ended up running back and forth in my apartment. It was awful. Anyway.
Sounds bad.
Don't do C4, kids. Not even once.
And do just one scoop of pre-workout because 2 scoops will make your ears itchy.
Yeah. Anyway, I can just picture Pete and Joe sitting down for a cup of Earl Grey and talking about trains. And it makes my heart
getting down to the bottom of it.
Yep. Yeah. So, my personal favorite thing is Deb Haaland as Interior Secretary.
Hell yeah.
So, the Secretary of the Interior is responsible for the management and conservation of most federal land and natural resources. This means the Department of the Interior oversees agencies like the Bureau of Land Management, the U.S. Geological Survey, Bureau of Indian Affairs, and National Park Service, a Native person has never held this cabinet position, which is insane to me. Like, no, America doesn't have a racism problem at all, despite the fact that a Native American has never served as the Interior Secretary. Holy fuck. So I love Deb Haaland, like, so much. I'm so excited for the progress in appointing her as Interior Secretary. I hope the new trend is that the position is never held by a colonizer again.
Yeah.
Like,
Native Americans are the only people who have been good stewards of these lands at all. Like, of course we should put it back in their hands. It makes so much sense. It makes me so happy because, yes, of course, like land management and conservation, like, yeah, white people historically not great at that.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's put it back. Like, I love Deb.
When I rescued my guinea pigs, I asked a bunch of questions about, like, their favorite vegetables and how they like their cage arranged and what their favorite pellets are and all of these things so I could be good to them.
Mm-hmm.
I should not put more care into how I take care of these little creatures that don't live even that long into, like, than what the whole entire history of America has put into taking care of the land in which this country exists upon.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for this to change and for
exciting stuff.
it to change under the direction of the coolest person.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, hats off to Deb Haaland. I mean, this is going to seem super unexciting now, but because it's not Deb Haaland, but head of the EPA is Michael Regan or Regan. I don't know how it's actually said. If he's confirmed, he'll be the first Black man to lead the EPA. So that is still very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is just especially extra important in my opinion because often white climate activism leaves out the people who are harmed the most by climate change, who tend to be people of color, especially Black people. And I think that, like we've mentioned that before, that climate change and everything, environmental issues are racial justice issues.
Yeah.
So I just think that this is an important pick. And Reagan has also received some criticisms in the past for not standing up to certain corporate interests. But he's received a lot of praise for giving underrepresented groups a voice in climate change. And so, again, coming back to even these picks that we're excited about and that are monumental can still come with criticisms, but that does not make them bad picks.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that he's not still going to do, like, a really great job in making sure that finally climate change has a racial justice focus, as it should.
Mm-hmm.
Secretary of Energy, former Michigan Governor Jennifer Granholm. I think I like this pick. She probably would have gotten this role as Secretary of Energy if Hillary had been elected in 2016. And I think a lot of environmental groups were actually really disappointed when that didn't happen. And so I think it's good that she's getting her shot now.
Yeah.
And that's it for ones that have actually been, like, stated so far. That could change by the time this episode comes out. Probably will. Probably tomorrow after we've recorded this. They'll announce the rest of the picks. But a couple important ones that haven't been determined yet or nominated yet. One is Attorney General. So a couple names floating around, one being Sherilyn Ifill. She's a law professor. She's president of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund.
All right.
Yeah, she would be a bang-up Attorney General. Love.
Compared to Bill Barr.
Right?
Oh my God.
My dog would be a good Attorney General compared to Bill Barr.
Yeah.
Another name floating around for the job is Sally Yates. She's had the job before, so obviously her name's going to come up as possibly getting that job again. And also Doug Jones. So he's the the former Alabama senator who is famous for being a prosecutor of the KKK members who bombed the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama, and killed children. So, yeah, all of these are good options. Lots of good options for Attorney General. Hard to have a bad option compared to Bill Barr.
Yeah.
But, there's that. Secretary of Education. Right now, the gossip is that he will select Miguel Cardona, who is the education commissioner in Connecticut. He's an actual teacher with experience in education as the education commissioner.
Excuse me?
What?
Yeah.
So, someone could be Secretary of Education who's had experience in education?
Sounds amazing.
I'm shocked. Yeah, so he actually understands what it's like to be a student growing up in public housing with English as a second language and real life going on, as opposed to Cruella DeVos, the education secretary for the past 4 years, who has no idea what life is like for normal people, especially for people who are poor. Kind of sucks that we can't have Dr. Jill Biden as Secretary of Education, because how cool would that be? But I get it. She's going to be too busy as Dr. First Lady.
And I heard she's not quitting her job as a community
Yeah, she's not planning
professor.
on it. She's planning on still working.
She rules.
Seriously, love her. And then Secretary of Labor, last one that I'm going to mention that hasn't been picked yet. One of the names floating around is Abby Finkenauer, which obviously we've talked about her before. She's like the youngest representative ever. She's from Iowa. She's my pick for this role because she's my friend. She doesn't know she's my friend, but she is my friend. Abby and I are really good friends, and I think it would be so cool to have a friend who is on Joe Biden's cabinet. Julie Sue from California is another name that's been dropped too. That would also be a perfectly fine choice. It's just I don't know her as well.
You're not friends.
Yeah, we're not friends. Yeah, we're not friends yet. So all of these folks, everyone on the Biden team has such a big job ahead of them. I mean, seriously, 3-fingered salute. May the odds be ever in your favor. This is one of the reasons why we need to have Reverend Warnock and John Ossoff win in Georgia, because we need the Senate to be competent and just. We're going to have competency in the cabinet. Now we need it in the Senate. We want the Biden administration to actually be able to get shit done. So, yeah. Exciting
That's
stuff.
exciting. That's hopeful.
Yeah, and hopefully you learned a little bit about some of the cabinet positions, who's going to have them. Hopefully you have them anyway.
Yeah. No, those all sound very... I was like I said, I was excited about Deb Haaland. I knew other people were excited about Janet Yellen, but I didn't know anything about her really. But yeah, there's way more stuff to be excited about than I realized.
Yeah, lots of firsts. It's it's historic. And I'm glad to see that. I think that, it's kind of Biden putting his money where his mouth is, right? When he first said, no, my vice president is going to be a woman, and hopefully a woman of color, and people are like, patronism, or don't patronize us. And now it's he's still delivering on that promise, and I think that's great. We can still hold him accountable for doing that. We plan on it, believe me.
That's what I was thinking about when you were talking in the beginning about how we were going to be critical of his cabinet picks, and it's we're going to be critical of everybody, because no matter what, they work for the government, and the government is supposed to it's a democracy, so that's how it works. And we've already learned that if you stop paying attention, it falls to pieces. So we're going to be critical of everybody.
Right, exactly. And the government works for you, and there are 300 million people in this country. We're never all going to agree on people and on their decisions. There will never at any point be unanimous agreement in who should have these positions, from president to the undersecretary of the transportation department. Like, it's never going to happen, but that's fine. Like, you can be critical and still be patriotic. In fact, as long as you're being polite, which maybe sometimes we're not, but like that criticism and that just paying attention, I think, is patriotism. Mm-hmm. And it's caring, and but also, yeah, realizing that we need these people to be able to work, to do their jobs, or we're just gonna be like a boat with no oars and no sails, hanging out in the middle of an ocean that's like rapidly rising. So
yeah.
Katie, what are your fucking hoorays for the week, or your self-care?
Oh my gosh, duh. I was like, I don't have any fucking crazy. Yes, I do. The triplets were born. Deva and Dotun's triplets. Yay. I don't think I've mentioned that. Maybe I have. They were born 1 day short of 34 weeks.
That is impressive for triplets.
Yeah. And they're all breathing and eating on their own, so everybody's good. I don't think they've been able to go home yet, but they did pass like the car seat test, and everything's good. So obviously that is very exciting. I sent their other two kids. Yes, I sent their other two kids last year's Christmas presents that, since there's a pandemic, I had not gotten around to sending them yet. What's your fucking hooray this week?
I have been baking, which is self-care and hooray for me, because it's self-care because I find it relaxing, and it's hooray because then I get to eat things. And watching so many Christmas movies. I love Christmas, even during a pandemic. I love Christmas movies, even the really bad ones. Just like a terrible Christmas movie, I adore. The series like Home for Christmas, which is actually a like Norwegian series, so nobody's like, it's translated so nobody's lips match what they're actually saying. It has been like my favorite personally, and if anybody listens in Norway would like to have me transplant there, I actually do hold up very well to the winter. And would love to be able to, it's just made me like really want to be able to ski everywhere. And I did finally get out and get to ski because we had so much snow here, and that brought my heart delight as well.
That sounds really nice.
Yeah, it was really nice.
All our snow is gone.
Just also, I know the last episode we recorded together, I talked about that donation game and the Christmas cards that we were doing with like my work party virtually. Did all the Christmas cards. It feels very good for the soul to write some Christmas cards. And of course I won the donation game thing because I'm very good at that. So a donation went to Syrian Relief and Development, which is the organization I picked, which is great because it's winter and Syria gets winter. Newsflash. Just because it's like in the Middle East doesn't mean it doesn't get cold as fuck. And people are living in tents or outside and they don't have warm clothes. So a lot of donations right now are going to that. So yeah, those are my fucking hoorays. It's felt great, and it's been really nice to just kind of find the joy in the little things, and
yeah. And now the days will just keep getting longer, so it'll be even easier.
Yes, more time for playing in the snow.
Yeah. What about kitten stuff? Do you have any kitten updates?
I don't know if my feral cats are using their houses or not, because it would be mean to like try to sneak up on one and pop my head in there and look.
I would put a phone in there and take a picture with flash on is what I would do first.
Even that would terrify them. So I just don't know, but I like to think that they're snuggling up in there. I did hide in my car after putting food next to one and like watch, and one was like sniffing around in there before eating the foods, but I just didn't see it go in. But I also, it's like I can't just like sit there and watch the cats and see if they're coming in and out of my cat houses. But I bet they are. I
mean, that's like a palace compared to what they're used to.
Yeah, compared to like a tire. So my feral cats have their houses. And other kitten-related business, I've been photoshopping random people's cats into Christmas scenes, and it is delightful.
I mean, that sounds fun. That sounds like a nice creative outlet for you.
It's absolutely one of those creative things I don't have time for right now. But it's a good activity while I'm watching my cheesy, stupid Christmas movies. And it brings a smile to people's face when I send them a picture of their cat dragging a Santa bag.
I'm sure it does.
Climbing out of a Santa bag. Or I did one that was like sitting at the Cheers bar.
Nice. Personalized.
So I'm making strangers happy with pictures of their cats.
Nice. Good work.
What about you? How is my baby mouse and his mom settling in?
They're good. They don't want to cuddle with me still, and he's like 8 or 9 weeks old.
Your last ones were so cuddly.
I know. All he wants to do is play. He never stops moving.
That's cute too.
Yeah. He did let me trim his nails, so that's good. He stopped moving long enough to do that, but it's good. Very cute, but they're the weirdest, some of the weirdest cats we've encountered.
A family with children would love them. Like a weird cat that loves to play, perfect for
and they're not like mean. They don't I've never seen them be mean. It's not like they are like standoffish,
right?
And they wouldn't like scratch kids or anything, I don't think. But they just all they want to do is play, which is fine. We can do that.
Love it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, next time we talk,
got.
I know, me too. And I think next time we talk to, I don't know, maybe we'll know who controls the Senate.
Yeah. Next time we're talking to all of you, we might know who controls the Senate. We will be in the new year. So much can change in just such a short amount of time right now. I feel like we're just living in like a weird place.
Yeah, we've been in this weird limbo like since. I mean, I'm glad Georgia went to a runoff, but yeah, it's been a weird time.
Yeah, it has for sure. Kind of forgot that I didn't get to be like, have a happy holidays, everyone, the last time we talked, but I hope you all had a happy holiday, socially distancing and not spreading coronavirus. Bless all of you who had to work over the holiday, saving people's lives and whatnot. We appreciate you. Appreciate all of you listeners. This is just a good time of year for gratitude.
Yeah. All right.
That's all I got.
We will talk to you guys next week. In the meantime, stay sexy and
let's flip the Senate.
Oh man, I sure hope we flip the Senate. All right,
let's do it.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you guys so much for listening to For Your Misinformation. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the podcast, and if you like it, give us a rating and a review.
It helps us find more listeners, and the more of us there are, the better. And make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter at FYMIpod.
Shout out to Ben Schlofelt for the audio production, Hope Dye for the podcast art, Kyle Dibdahl for the intro and outro music, and Adam Roston, who edits these videos every week so you can watch them on YouTube.
We come out with new episodes every Monday.